Recently, my two kids have been really hounding me to build ramps and other mountain bike features that they can ride. This can probably be attributed to the countless hours of mountain bike videos we watch on YouTube together. I guess it was bound to happen sooner or later. And now that spring temperatures have finally arrived on the Canadian prairies, and with the social distancing rules in play, taking on a project like this seemed like a great idea. Not only would it give me something productive to do over the weekend, it was also something I could do with my boys. I decided our first project would be to build a skinny. They kept saying they wanted to build a jump first, but I thought a skinny would be a better feature to start with. It would allow my two boys, who are 6 and 9, to practice their riding skills, especially being able to pick a line and stick to it. First things first, I got the boys to start moving all the pieces of wood that would potentially become our skinny to our work area. I was mostly able to get them to do this with minimal complaining. As with most kids, it took longer than it probably should have. I'm pretty sure they could have carried more than one 8-inch piece of scrap wood at a time.
Okay, so do you know what these are going to be? You know what these are going to be?
The skinny?
Yeah, so, right? We'll use them like that.
That's easy skinny.
Well, it's going to be higher though, so we're going to build a platform for it, so it'll be like, maybe a little higher than that, but, so like that, right?
So another reason I thought a skinny was a good first project was because I have a lot of scrap wood left over from when I built our deck a few years ago. Score 1 for procrastinating on getting a junk hauler to come and take it all away. And as I went through the pile of scraps, it was looking like a lot of the leftover deck boards I would be using would work as is without any cutting. It was almost as if I had planned it.
We're building a skinny so we can practice biking on it.
We will, yeah.
Building the skinny was not going to be rocket science, so I didn't really formulate a plan going into it. This feature seemed simple enough to build that I could just wing it. I didn't even know how long I was going to make it. The boys and I started laying out the boards that would be the surface of the skinny to get an idea of how long we wanted it to be.
Okay, so how wide do you think is good? Do you think that's wide enough?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think like these ones are wide enough. We have to.
No, let's go this wide. So let's try and replace the ones smaller than these two, like this, with ones that are about that same size from that pile.
Okay.
All right.
But then it's skinnier.
I know.
But it's called a skinny. The bigger.
So we can use the longer ones, like we just have to cut them, which isn't a big deal. Let's try and find the ones that are close.
I want to cut them.
Well, I don't think I'm gonna let you cut.
I want to cut.
Fancy, that saw is dangerous.
Why don't you have a handsaw?
Well, because I don't. It would take a long time with a handsaw.
It takes a long time.
How high do you think about that, eh?
Once we laid out an arbitrary length, I went over to the deck. I knew there was two 20-foot 2x8s under there that I was thinking would be good to build the frame for the skinny. As you can see, there's still quite a bit of snow on the ground, and yes, it's mid-April. We've been having unseasonably low temperatures this spring, and got a snowstorm at the beginning of the month. It's been a pretty terrible spring this year on the Canadian prairies. So my initial thoughts were to make the skinny the full length of the 20-foot 2x8, but those boards are pretty heavy. And if I were to use 2 of them for the frame, that would make the feature pretty darn heavy to lug around. So I was thinking I would use one of the 2x8s and attach the deck boards to the face of the 2x8. If I did that, the skinny wouldn't be very high off the ground. Granted, I wanted to not make it too high so the kids felt comfortable on it, but 2 inches high was pretty low. So that's when I remembered I had an 8-foot 4x4 under the deck too. I thought I could chop that up and use it as a base for the skinny. Remember all that snow and unseasonably cold temperatures I talked about earlier?
It's gotta melt.
Well, it turns out that the 4x4 I wanted from under the deck was frozen to the ground. Luckily, the temperatures were supposed to go up the next day, so I decided to put a 24-hour halt on the project.
How much did
The next morning, as I set up the work area, I had to contend with swampy conditions in the backyard. I also had a change of plans. I threw out the 4x4 idea and decided to just cut the 20-foot 2x8 in half and use the two pieces as the frame. I would then build a sloped approach of about 6 feet, taking the total length to 16 feet. That seemed like a good start for the boys, and would be easy enough to build extensions for it if we wanted to make it longer in the future. I made my measurements, made the necessary cuts, and started assembling the frame.
Now tap. Over here it's lined up too.
Alright, got it?
Oh, okay.
The boys and I then started laying the deck boards onto the frame to make up the surface of the skinny.
It's like, push which one down?
Just, we'll see. Get a better one, and then if we need it, we'll use it at the end.
This is good. That's it.
Once we had everything planned and laid out, I started connecting the surface boards.
Yeah, you fall like 90%.
My 9-year-old came in pretty handy as a screw dispenser.
Like sometimes when you're just biking towards it, you just go like this.
It was then time to start building the approach. I grabbed a couple of scrap 2x8s from the woodpile, drew a line to give us a nice gradual slope, and made the cut. I was able to use the two opposite pieces yielded from the cut as the two sides of the frame. The kids seemed to have their own ideas of what helping out meant.
Are you guys helping?
Well, you were doing stuff that we couldn't do. Like that stuff.
What stuff?
You were sawing.
Okay. That's good.
Once again, we laid out the deck boards on the approach, and I secured them into place with the deck screws.
Is this good?
Yeah, no expenses. These are the better ones, probably.
And that was it. We had a skinny. I left the approach and the main part disconnected. I thought we could change the angle of the approach on the fly to let the boys work on riding a skinny that wasn't a straight line. The boys were excited to grab their bikes and test it out.
Let's go.
It took a few tries to finally clean it, and once they did, they were pretty stoked about it.
I built the skinny and then I ride on it.
Were you able to ride it?
Building the skinny was pretty, well, it took a long time, but at the end it's worth it. And also, it's not too hard, but it's also going to be super fun to ride on.
Then it was my turn to put the final seal of approval on it. If you liked what you saw here, please subscribe to the channel, and if you liked this video, hit that like button. Thanks for watching and take it easy.